can say is I apologise for this episode being a little late, but what's up guys and all you fellow England football fans out there? My name is Jack Wright, also known as JackpotButtonLewis on YouTube, and welcome to another edition of my spin-off series from my one and only European football vlog series titled Football's Coming Home Again, of once again Football's Coming Home Again, Extra Time. And in this episode, I'd just like to once again apologise for the delay for this video, for being up a lot more later than usual. I've just actually been uploading the last episode of the last game, of which we're going to talk about briefly in this episode, and of course, and also as well, since I didn't actually upload this a lot more sooner than usual, I've been very busy trying to get the last episode up, and also today I know it's a bit more darker in here and it's quite late at night at the moment, but today was actually Father's Day on the 21st of June today, and I would like to say a massive shout out to my dad John, who you might remember made a little appearance, vocal appearance I should add, in the last game, once again against Scotland, and much love to my dad John. I love you so much. Who's also had a big hand in helping out with a lot of the stuff I've been doing throughout this series, especially getting the supplies for my Right Challenge, of course, feature on the show, which I am doing another one at the end of the show as well, and this one's going to be a lot more different, but I think it would also be a lot more exciting and a little bit more easy to do than when I had to face eating a very hot vindaloo curry following England's win over Croatia just last week. But as well as that, we're not just going to talk about England versus Scotland, because since that game happened a few days ago, also today's been a very, very big day in the tournament currently of the UEFA Euro 2020, and we've also got a quick update for you that the first two games of the final and third week match day, of course, match week started today, and they just finished, and I was just going to quickly check here the final scores. We had Italy take on Wales, and despite getting a red card from one of their players for unfortunately stomping an Italian player for Wales, despite losing their match, of course they lost 1-0, it was just one goal in it between both Italy and Wales, they amazingly managed to qualify in goal difference. It turns out that they managed to win on goal difference just by one, and Switzerland managed to win against Turkey today, and they absolutely destroyed them. Despite Turkey coming back with a late goal, a consolation goal, it wasn't enough. Switzerland managed to win 3-1 over Turkey, and as it stands, I know that both Italy and Wales have qualified for the once again for the knockout round of 16, but Switzerland still have a chance to qualify for the next round, depending on how well they do against the other countries which are still yet to play in the other groups, which are, I know that tomorrow, as it stands, on Monday the 21st of June, my apologies, I got actually the date wrong. I can't believe I actually said that. Honestly, I thought that was right. It was actually the 20th of June today, and like I said, it was Father's Day, so I do apologise for making that mistake. I seem to be doing that a lot. I don't know why. I honestly think I always seem to make prophecies that immediately turn out to be wrong. I'm basically doing the stuff that the late great Murray Walker from the world of Formula 1 commentary used to do. I don't normally make mistakes, but I make prophecies that immediately turn out to be wrong. His words, not mine. But yes, as like I did say, the next two games from 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, Finland take on Belgium, and they're looking a very good place. They could actually qualify to the knockout round of the 16. As they have managed to beat their last two games as well. They managed to beat a superb game. They managed to beat Russia very comfortably for a 3-0 victory, and also win 2-1 over Denmark just a few days ago. And like I did say, in that same group, as well as Finland playing Belgium, Russia take on Denmark. And as it stands, like I said, in Group D, Belgium are leading with 6 points. Russia are in second with 3, tied with Finland in third. But as it stands, Belgium are 4 goals on goal difference, -2 for Russia, none for Finland as they have yet to score. And Denmark are there's a difference of -2 goals, and as you know, we've unexpectedly actually saw Russia actually oh sorry, my apologies, I said Denmark manage to lose to Finland in a Scandinavian derby. And but amazingly, Russia just by 1 goal managed to beat Finland just a few days before Denmark played Belgium. So that's how it stands in Group B. But I will tell you more about the next few games as they happen, as we look on to the final bit of course, the final and third match week of this year's Euro 2020 tournament. And once again, we are going to be looking very briefly in this episode of the final game for England in Group D as they take on the Czech Republic, their final team to face, of course, in once again in that group, while Croatia take on Scotland. Now, as I did just briefly mention, we're going to review briefly about the Scotland game against England. We obviously know what happened, sadly. It was a hard-fought, scoreless draw, of course, goalless draw, and but nearly Scotland managed to beat England, and they did actually surprise us, honestly. They actually, believe or not, as I mentioned in the previous episode, they did play very poorly, England, and I'm ashamed to say that, but Gareth Southgate did make some poor decisions, and some of the England fans were outraged at the full-time whistle, booing the performance, and it's quite a shame, really. It was kind of unfortunate. I honestly thought we were going to beat them comfortably, but it was nice to actually see that Scotland they were underdogs. They were quite the threat, and honestly, they put up a good fight against us a few days ago. And not to mention that they also, like I said already, they almost won against us, and let me tell you, that would have been a massive upset for us. We wouldn't want to lose to them in that game, but fortunately enough, that didn't happen. But I also do happen to have some very positive news. Also, if you might remember, just a few days ago, I mentioned about the current situation regarding the Danish football player. Like I mentioned Denmark earlier on in this episode, of Christian Eriksen. For most of you who might remember, he passed out and collapsed onto the pitch during the Denmark versus Finland game. And where, like I've said already, Finland managed to beat Denmark 1-0, but it was kind of an undeserving win for them despite of the situation that surrounded the health scare of once again Christian Eriksen. But it does say here that from yesterday on the 19th of June, this article I've got here from Sky Sports News. Good news is he's been discharged from hospital just yesterday, which is great news to hear. And he was given CPR on the pitch during the game once again against Finland, which halted as the 29-year-old was taken to hospital. And the midfielder has been fitted with a heart-starting device and has been discharged once again from hospital. And for most of you who might remember, he did suffer a cardiac arrest that led him to collapse. And he's returned having a cardiovert defibrillator implanted in his heart to keep an eye on his chest and his heartbeat. And a statement from the Danish FA read, Christian Eriksen has been through a successful operation and was today discharged from Rigoso Hospitaliet. Today he also visited the national team in Helsinki, and from there he will go home to spend time with his family. meaning that also he will, of course, unfortunately, be ruled out of the not just the squad but the whole tournament following that collapse. And like I said, from everyone here, as always, to Christian Eriksen, on behalf of everyone here, including myself and everyone that works here on Football's Coming Home Again, and also once again this spin-off series of of the very same vlog series of Football's Coming Home Again Extra Time. We hope that you get hope you have a speedy recovery, and it's great to hear that you pulled through, and we hope that you get better soon. So get well soon, and we hope to see you back on the pitch very, very soon. Also playing for I'm trying to actually remember. He does play one of the big clubs in the Premier League as well, for that matter as well. I think he plays, I think, for Tottenham Hotspur, from what I remember, but I could be wrong. I'm only making a speculation there. But also on the official Denmark football team Twitter page, it's also been saying here that his greeting, and of course there was a message from Christian himself saying, "Thank you for the massive number of greetings. It has been incredible to see and feel. The operation went well, and I am doing well under the circumstances. It was really great to see the guys again after the fantastic game they played last night. No need to say that I will be cheering them on Monday against Russia, which will be once again taking place tomorrow." And also it does say here that from this article here, it's talking about what an ICD is. Like I said, it's an implantable cardioverter defibrillator, as a small device that can treat people with dangerously abnormal heartbeat rhythms. And it sends electrical pulses to regulate these rhythms, especially those that could be dangerous and cause a cardiac arrest. And also as well, it also talks about how CPR saved his life, the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and that occurs when the heart encounters an electrical issue and stops pumping blood around the body and to the brain, causing the person to fall out of consciousness and stop breathing. So quite a scary thing to happen. Luckily that's never happened to me. I have passed out due to being burnt out if I'm being tired, but this is a lot more serious. So and it's also, medics define this as clinical death, which is the onset of biological death, although CPR can help restart the person's heart functions and save their life. By administering chest compressions and rescue breaths, the CPR performer helps to pump blood and oxygen around the person's body, taking over the role of their heart and lungs. And it also does say that also why CPR is important for this. And this was from the professor of cardiology, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, actually told Sky Sports News, time is myocardium. Myocardium. I've never heard that word, actually. That's an unusual word. I'm sure some of you might be searching up that after this episode. That's what we say in medicine. That means the longer that there is a time delay, the higher the chance that the heart muscle will never recover. In fact, for every minute that passes, in chances of an individual surviving go down by between 7 and 10%. So it's very, very crucial to keep the heart beating during these crucial moments and get the heart started as quickly as possible. Not just so that the cardiac outcome will be good, but also that the other organs such as the brain remain well perfused so that the individual after survival remains healthy. So there you go, and it also tells you on how you can perform it as well. A lot has been talked about because it's still a reoccurring issue, not just with it when it comes to football players, but even people who pass out in everyday life. I think I vaguely remember one time, and I didn't even see it happening. I remember when I was actually went on holiday with my whole family, and I remember we were at a service kind of like hotel, like break area, basically like a service area, a welcome break from what I remember, and I think it was relatively around, I think about Northampton, so not far away from the racetrack of Silverstone, where the British Grand Prix takes place every year. And unbelievably, while I was, because it was a very warm day, and I was just out, I was also walking my dog with my dad, John, Henry, which you might have heard him have a little yap and bark in the last episode when I commentated on England versus Scotland. And unbelievably, while my sister Hannah needed to go to the toilet, my mum was there as well to help her. But unbelievably, there was quite a shock of something that did happen in the toilets, the ladies' toilets, and amazingly, someone actually passed out. I think very similar to a cardiac arrest, and it was actually inside a toilet cubicle. Which was so unfortunate, and but luckily enough, people that actually innocent bystanders who were not just there but also my mum and my sister Hannah as well. She never saw it, I mean, because obviously we couldn't, she didn't want to see too much because she gets very traumatic when something like that happens. It was like that when she saw me pass out, but that has been a long time since that happened. But like I said before, I was burnt out. I didn't sleep very well the night before one time, and that unfortunately led me to passing out, and it was quite the shock. And then I awoke to some screeches of distress from my sister Hannah, and that was quite scary to actually hear that. But lo and behold, even though since I passed out, I did end up having a bump on my head because I literally lost conscious from that point on. But luckily I was okay, but I stayed upright and then decided to rest my whole body on one of the sofas when I was sitting down, where I commentated on from against England versus Scotland from just a few days ago. But anyway, all that aside, I'm not trying to scare you, but I just want to highlight how important it is and how much it can affect and how much it can play a part in saving someone's life. So that's why I wanted to include that article here. But anyway, let's, of course, we got a lot to get through since, of course, I did miss out on doing this. I'm doing this at a lot more later time than a few days ago because I've just been very busy trying to keep on track with this series. It's been tough, honestly. I mean, you know, to not just do me, of course, match day vlog series, looking, of course, and commentating on how England play in this tournament, but also to get, and of course I asked my dad today to get these newspapers, and we've got a few, obviously, that might have a few opinions on how England played from yesterday, not just yesterday, but a few days ago against Scotland. And also we are just a few days away that, of course, next Tuesday on the 22nd of June it will be the last game for England in the tournament against, once again, the Czech Republic. And as it stands, from what I do know, is that England need either a draw or a win over Croatia to qualify for the knockout round of 16. So it's all. I know that it wasn't the result that England needed against Scotland, but we weren't expecting it to be a smooth ride, to be fair. And I know I did say with this series it was going to be quite the roller coaster. I mean, you know, it's not as exciting when things don't go to plan normally. So and this is a prime example that's happening right here, right now, guys. So. But anyway, all with that aside, we have got two newspapers, as you can see here. I've got the Sun newspaper and the Daily Mail. I did ask for a third one, but unfortunately loads of people have been buying them over the last few days because of being very keen to find out, since, of course, the football fever mood has definitely reached a very high level over the last few weeks, and there was a massive turnout of Scotland fans for the game against England just a few days ago. And I can start off with the first headline here on the front page of the Sun. It says, England and Scotland can't be separated. England and Scotland battled a goalless Euro 2020 draw last night. This was once again on Saturday, the 19th of June, this newspaper when it came out, and showing nationalist Nicola Sturgeon ties still bind the old enemies. There you go. In reference to the main person who's in charge of the Scotland in the government over there, and the point at the there we go. Sorry, I think I misread it there. The point at rain lashed Wembley leaves England on course for the knockout rounds. We can also look at this story in more detail. It also does show, if you can see that there, I know of course the lighting's not the best, but you can also see a hand grab from both captains for England and Scotland of Harry Kane and John McGinn. Who sadly, unfortunately, I was quite disappointed by Harry Kane, and I know he's our best striker in the England lineup, but I was... as you might remember, my mum and dad had a big, of course, they were quite distraught with how England played in the game yesterday, and it was unfortunate. It really, really was unfortunate with, but they of course, they expressed their of course, their frustration. I was trying to think of the word there. I do apologise. But as it says here, once again on the front page of The Sun, it says here, England and Scotland, campaign in the rain, with the headline, Jock and Draw. 3 lines outplayed by Scots, no goals and not many ideas. England still set to go through. And also says, as we continue on with the article here, from following on from the headline, and this is from Nick Parker of the Sun newspaper, and he says that England fans were left frustrated last night as the 3 Lions were held a 0-0 Euros draw by battling Scotland. Gareth Southgate's Stars missed a golden chance to seal their place in the knockout round stages, thanks to a plucky display by the old enemy, as of course that used to be the nickname for the Scots from the English point of view. But they remain hot favourites to win Group D if they beat Czech Republic on Tuesday night. A point will see them qualify and put them on collision course with one of France, Germany or Portugal. Now these of course are teams in Group F, dubbed as the Group of Death because of the great football players or the football teams that are in that group. And also on the topic of that, also yesterday Portugal unfortunately and unbelievably lost to Germany. They scored 2 own goals by, I can also just quickly clarify that through my Euro 2020 app, and it totally took me by surprise. I mean, you know, I never thought I would ever see it happen, but amazingly Germany won 4-2 against Portugal, and Ruben Dias and Guerrero got the own goals, unfortunately, to give the 2 goals to Germany. And then Kai Havertz and then Gosens with a great header goal. Once again, Robin Gosens there, who also plays at club level at Atlanta in Serie A in Italy. They got the goals for Germany. So a massive turnaround from their 1-goal defeat to France the match beforehand. And but honestly, it's quite incredible, because I thought that Germany weren't going to be the favourites to do well in this tournament. Actually, I know that they haven't had a decent result since the last tournament, and they have been struggling in, of course, World Cup qualifying for the next World Cup that starts next year in Qatar in 2022. When they unbelievably lost to North Macedonia, would you believe? And I remember seeing that game, and I just thought to myself, for one of the most successful clubs in not just European but world football that have won the World Cup 4 times and also winning the Euros 3 times alongside tied with Spain, honestly, I never thought they would play that badly. It was just something that I never thought would happen. It was literally utterly beyond belief to see a result like that. It just literally was... it had me baffled, honestly. I didn't even know what on earth I had witnessed. It was truly something... It was kind of a revelation, really, honestly. It was something that we never expected to happen from such a top international football team, like I've said, of the side of Germany. But continuing on from, of course, with this article against Scotland, going back to this, here in the Sun newspaper, that it says, the atmosphere among Wembley's 22,500 COVID-restricted crowd reached fever pitch before kickoff when the Scottish anthem was booed by home fans, which I'm sure most of you might remember when actually that was being played, Flower of Scotland. I was tempted to sing it as part of my feature on my right decision, but you might remember I did wear my Scotland hat. It's actually down on the floor here, but I'm actually going to need it for my right challenge later on in this episode, and there'll be a reason why, and I'll tell you more on that later. But like I said, both teams took the knee with the anti-racism gesture, greeted by a mixture of jeers, boos, whistles and applause. After a cagey start, England defender John Stones towered above the Scottish defence to head against the post, which honestly, I mean, it was so unlucky how he missed out on he'd done a brilliant header, I think, from a corner, and it was so unlucky it hit right in the middle of the right post of the Scottish goal. And moments later, Chelsea's Mason Mount was unable to convert another chance from 6 yards out, with the Scottish defence in tatters. The visitors rallied and England keeper John Pickford palmed away a Stephen O'Donnell volley in the 30th minute, and below par England huffed and puffed but failed to register a single shot on target in the first half, and Scotland outplayed their host for most of the game. Their defence snuffed out England, Harry Kane, the captain for England, who appeared tired before being substituted for Marcus Rashford. And the final whistle signalled only the fourth 0-0 draw in 115 meetings between football's oldest rivals. As I did actually get that wrong in the last episode. I thought it was 150. I misheard that from the start of commentary from my headphones. And that was actually 115 too. So I do apologise for that also as well, for getting that number wrong for, of course, the amount of times that both England and Scotland have met in international football matches. And fans in the stadium and millions more in pubs and homes across the nation were left subdued. And it also says here, one of the fans for England, a Three Lions fan, Steve Biggins, a 34-year-old roofer from Fulham in London, in West London to be specific, he said, "It was a tough watch because on paper we had a far better team than the Scots, but they dug deep and have succeeded in frustrating us. But it was never going to be easy, and we can still have a great chance if we can get fired up to beat the Czechs." So there we go, and I mean there is a load of reaction here, as we can see from both sides. So a passionate Scottish fan there. And also, unbelievably, yeah, there is Rod Stewart was also there, the very famous English singer, and frustration written on the faces of most of the England fans. Hug there from John Armstrong against Calvin Phillips there for England. And it even talks about as well, I mean, it's also been talked about even because I forgot to mention this in an earlier episode. It says, "Bring back the waistcoat, Gareth." England fans begged manager Gareth Southgate to bring back his lucky waistcoat after the team's flat performance last night. His natty tailoring took the country by storm during England's progression through the 2018 World Cup, but his new raincoat hasn't improved. As we did actually, if you can see that he actually did wear a raincoat, of course, during the game. And it's kind of funny actually that that's been mentioned, because I am making this a statement now that I had planned, if England can hopefully fingers crossed, like I said already, to a majority of this tournament. Like I said, my prediction was hopefully our best one that we've had at the European Football Championships of the semi-finals, which has been our best result since 25 years ago at Euro 96. I will wear. I've actually got a waistcoat, especially a navy waistcoat and three-piece suit. I've even got the tie, one of the old ties that Gareth Southgate wore during the World Cup, and hopefully that will give us a bit of luck. And also, as well as the official shirt that he wore during that campaign. For of course to give us a bit of luck throughout this tournament, depending of course, like I said already, that depends on how well England do. I understand, I know this was quite a frustrated performance, quite a frustrating thing for Gareth Southgate, the manager for England, to witness, but it's unfortunate that it had to happen. But we knew going into this tournament we weren't expected to have an easy run, and I know that Gareth Southgate has mentioned that if we want to win this tournament we need to take risks. And I know that of course it's amazing that with of course what Dad said, if we can't beat Scotland we'll have no chance of taking on the big teams, like as I said, as I mentioned earlier on in this article, against Portugal, France or Germany. But we can hopefully turn it around. Hopefully, I mean, we have when it comes to our record against the Czech Republic, we have unbelievably managed to beat them more times than themselves. They have beaten us at a qualifier match before this tournament, but the best result we've had was we managed to win 5-0 against them, our first match of the qualifiers at Wembley initially. And if we can repeat that on next Tuesday, that would be incredible. As I just quickly also show the back here on the Sun newspaper, and it says the headline, "What a shower." Captain Kane is subbed as Freeline's flop. Booing fans give Gareth a coating. England were booed off and Harry Kane hauled off in the Euro 2020 stalemate against Scotland at a rain-soaked Wembley. The struggling Three Lions captain was anonymous before he was subbed for Marcus Rashford with 16 minutes left in the game. Boss Gareth Southgate also hooked Phil Foden, triggering jeers from the fans. More boos followed from the final whistle as England remained second behind the Czech Republic in Group D. And former Scotland skipper Graham Souness said, "Football ain't coming home with that team." Well, it's not, of course, that's not the thing I wanted to hear from there. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that that had to happen with Harry Kane there. We have also got an interview from Harry Kane that we are going to show you very, very shortly. And I will have to remind you that this is from ITV Sports. And there was a load of boos and jeers around this, and the sound quality is not the best. But when we show you that very, very shortly, I will try and get the best connection and sound quality for you so you can hear what he actually said. But as we look at the other newspaper here from this Daily Mail, and it talks about it's been over 60 years since the passing, or it would have been the 60th birthday of the late Princess Diana, who died in a car crash back in the late 90s, if you might remember that. And it also says England's soggy stalemate. And it says also on the back here, with the same picture of Harry Kane on the grass of Wembley Stadium, saying, "England fall flat, stalemate as Southgate's stodgy side held by stubborn Scotland." And Sammy Mockbell, the chief football reporter at Wembley Stadium for the Daily Mail, said, "The Battle of Britain could produce only blanks at Wembley last night as Captain Harry Kane endured another painful night. The unsettled Tottenham striker has not scored for his country since March and was substituted for the second successive game at Euro 2020. The 155th meeting between the old enemies was far from a thriller, with Scotland having the better of the first half when Jordan Pickford was forced into a smart save from Stephen O'Donnell. John Stones had the best of the chances though, and should have done better than head against the post when unmarked." And he did say, well, actually, it also says here about Roy Keane, one of the pundits for ITV Sport. He says here, "You've got to read the flight of the ball. He has to score," said pundit Roy Keane on ITV. He added here, not great movement. He has to do better. He's close enough, has enough contact, not good enough. There you go. And also, instead, it was the first ever 0-0 between the teams at Wembley. Crucially, though, both teams can progress in the tournament when they play their final group games on Tuesday. Like I mentioned, of course, once again with England against the Czech Republic, and also Croatia taking on, once again, Scotland. So with that being said, I know that wasn't the performance that all us England fans were expecting, and I know that we all want to do a lot more better. I mean, we've got one more chance to try and make up for that unexpected poor performance against Scotland there, despite getting a draw. But it has helped us that we still have a chance to go through to the knockout round of 16. Depending on where we finish. We can either finish second if we get a draw, but like I said already, if we do get a win, we will top the group, and depending on whoever we, of course, wherever we place in the group, either first or second, we'll play the second team that finishes in either group, I think it was Group E or Group F, of course, once again dubbed the Group of Death. But like I said, we've got a quick little interview here from Gareth Southgate, and not just, of course, Gareth Southgate for that matter, but also Harry Kane. But we, of course, want to get the real insight, because we actually haven't heard much from Gareth at the moment, and we really want to see what has gone wrong. I know this is not the best performance from Gareth Southgate, and I know that loads of fans have been going against him because of that result. But I'm still remaining hopeful that, of course, with next Tuesday's game, once again to Czech Republic, hopefully we will manage to get back on track and hopefully progress a lot more better in this year's Euro 2020 tournament. So we've actually got, like I said, here is, of course, a quick little video, of course, interview from Captain Harry Kane from ITV Sport, and also from Beanyman Sports with Gareth Southgate. And then also we've got a quick little preview ahead to the next game, once again against England, against the Czech Republic, from also with a little bit of some discussion from the presenter of ITV Sport coverage of this year's Euro 2020 tournament, of Mark Palgach, and also I wouldn't say Spanish, sorry, I meant to say French, former French France player, or Patrick Vieira, and also Scott Brown for Scotland, and also former player for England who also played at Euro 96 25 years ago, of Gary Neville, and that will follow the interview once again of Gareth Southgate. So here is, of course, an extended and exclusive interviews from, once again, captain for the England football team Harry Kane, manager Gareth Southgate, and once again the pundits of the ITV Euro 2020 football team.
Did you deserve any better than a draw?
A draw was probably a fair result. Credit to Scotland. They defended really well, created a few chances themselves. So, I mean, it wasn't our best performance, but look, it's another point closer to qualification. That's the ultimate goal for us now. So yeah, we just got to dust ourselves down, recover well, and look forward to another game in a few days.
Were you surprised as England's top scorer to be substituted?
No, look, it's part of the game. You know, the manager will make what decisions are best for the team. If he felt that was the right decision, then sometimes you just have to take it. So it is what it is. Like I say, we've got another big game in a few days. Let's recover well and get ready for that.
Did you feel anything in particular was missing from your game?
Personally, or that game? No, I think it was just a tough game. You know, like I said, Scotland defended really well, made great blocks at the right times when we did have chances, and that's football. We're playing in the European Championship. No game's going to be easy. Scotland are playing for their lives in this tournament, and you saw that today.
A draw pretty much means qualification, but you're still second in the group to Czech Republic.
Yeah, that means we've got a big game in a few days against the Czechs. Obviously, we want to finish top. But yeah, look, like I said, it's a point. It's not what we wanted, but it's one step closer to qualifying, and that's what we want to do at the moment. So one step at a time, and yeah, we go again.
Thanks, Harry.
Okay, everybody, now joined by Gareth Southgate. We'll start with the first questions from Simon Peach, the Press Association.
Hi, Gareth. A frustrating night. The fans made their views heard at the end, or some of them did. What's your thoughts on the evening as a whole?
Well, I think it's probably a fair scoreline, first and foremost. We didn't do enough to win the game, didn't create enough clear-cut chances to win the game, but I don't think we deserved to lose it either. I've got to give huge credit to Scotland. I thought they defended extremely well and they used the ball well. We couldn't find the solutions. We had moments down the sides which is where the spaces were against them, but we weren't able to exploit those spaces. And in the end, as I said, not enough to win. But this is a tournament, and it's critical when you can't win not to lose. And that's, of course, feels difficult in the last 15 minutes of a game like tonight, where fans are desperate for you to go forward and abandon all shape, because of course it's Scotland. It feels like a unique occasion, but we have to still approach it in the context that a point is still an important step towards qualification, and ultimately qualification is the first objective for us.
Thanks, Simon. Next, go to John Cross in the Mirror.
Gareth, can I just ask you about Harry Kane? It's the second game running that was substituted. He just couldn't get into the game tonight, could he really? Is there a concern there? Is there a fitness issue? A couple of the TV pundits were talking about maybe he's been distracted by the transfer chat. It's not the Harry that we're used to, is it? What happened tonight with Harry, do you think?
I think the whole team, we have got to look at the whole performance and our use of the ball and review where we can be better, and that's right across the board. So it's not just about one person. It's Scotland. I thought marked him extremely well. With the back five, there isn't a lot of space, and of course they managed to, anything that was played up, they were aggressive. They defended well. So tonight we couldn't find the answers. We've got to go away, review the game and find those answers for the game with Czech Republic.
Thanks, John. Next we'll go to Duncan Wright from The Sun.
Hi, Gareth. When it's going wrong as it did today, I think many people wanted a change-up, maybe to go with a fourth attacking player. But you kept it like for like with substitutions and didn't change around then. And that seemed to frustrate the supporters who obviously booed and let their feelings know through the game as well as at the whistle.
Well, I would say we had a fourth attacking player in Mount throughout the whole game. So I think in those moments, if we had to chase to win with no consequence for conceding, then you might approach it differently. Or if we were behind in the game and we were chasing. But all the time, it's a night where it was a bit frantic. It wasn't a game where there was a huge amount of control. And you've got to make sure that sitting on 3 points as we did, we managed the tournament as well as the game. And it's easy to gamble towards the end and lose shape and then end up losing the game in the last 5 minutes. And then you're kicking yourself for not managing the tournament. And I understand we're at Wembley. It's a game against Scotland where everybody wants us to win. We wanted to win. But it is in the context of a tournament, and the qualification is the first and the most important thing.
Thanks, Duncan. Next we'll go to Alex Howell, BBC Sport.
Hi, Gareth. Just said taking advantage of the space down the sides. What do you think the team needed to do better to create more chances?
I think the timing of our movement rotation patterns could have been better at times. I think we could have been a bit more decisive in our decision making in those areas. But again, I think Scotland also defended those areas really well. And as even towards the end, the one against one situations, they always had a second or a third man across. So look, it's a game we know we didn't hit the level we wanted to or need to. But tonight we have to accept whatever comes our way. All I would say is I'm totally understanding that as the manager. I totally understand anything that comes my way. What we need to do is make sure we get behind the players, because there's a lot of young players that need the support of everybody. Most of them haven't been involved in a game like that before, and they are unique occasions. They'll learn a lot, they'll bounce back from it, but they need everybody behind them.
Thanks, Alex. Next to Matt Lord, The Telegraph.
Hi, Gareth. Just on that theme, are you angry that the fans booed so loudly at the end? And do you think it was a bit unfair, given you'd had a good performance in the first game against Croatia?
No, I think our fans are entitled to react however they want. And we're disappointed with our own performance. And I totally understand their reaction. We're expected to beat Scotland. They'll be frustrated by that. And in the end, we've got to live with that and deal with that.
Thanks, Matt. Next to Sammy Muckbell, Mail.
Hi, Gareth. Much like you said on Sunday, not to get carried away with the result over Croatia. Is the message just kind of a similar one tonight? Not to panic.
Well, we know where we sit in the group. We know that we have a lot of work to do to improve our performances. But also we know in the context of qualification, 4 points from 2 matches, we're in a strong position. So we have to make sure that we get the third game right and make the right decisions around that. Of course, there's always fallout from any England performance that isn't at the level you want or doesn't get the result that you want. But we are in the middle of a tournament. We are in the middle of a qualification group. We totally understand the reaction tonight, but our first objective is to qualify, and we're still on track to do that.
Thanks, Sammy. Next we'll go to Ariles Old Sada from VG Norway.
Hi, Gareth. You compare the reaction from the fans, booing and wanting you to attack, and then you talk about the need to stay calm and manage the tournament. Can that be difficult for you as a manager when you hear the excitement, especially with the tournament being played in London in front of the English fans?
Yeah, but this was always something that I knew we were going to have to deal with, and that was going to be a challenging experience for the players, especially with quite an inexperienced international team. So I said before, just because you're at home doesn't mean that you win. You have to play well, and on Sunday we played well, and we got the result we deserved. Tonight we didn't play as well, but we have to accept that. As I said, I accept that as the manager, and we learn from the experience, and we have a different sort of challenge now against the Czechs.
Thank you. And next to Jacob Steinberg, Guardian.
Hi, Gareth. Were you happy with Jack Grealish when he came on? It felt a little bit at times like he played a little bit too slowly, hung on to the ball a little bit too much.
Well, we put him on to get into those one-against-one situations, and I thought he took players out of the game. He at times got them on the back foot, drove into the penalty area a couple of times. So again, I think with Jack, we've got to be realistic about what our expectations are with him when he goes into a game. We know he can help us to open up a defence in those sorts of moments. He nearly managed that a couple of times, but again, I thought Scotland defended very well against him. So, I was pleased with what he did when he went on.
Thanks, Jacob. And final question from Theo Squires, the Liverpool Echo.
Hi, Gareth. Jordan Pickford's had some difficult moments this season, but after injury, he finished the season strongly. He was a hero for you at the World Cup, and he's come into the Euros in good form, made a great save tonight. Just wanted to know what you thought of his performance and how important he is for your squad going forward.
Yeah, I thought his performance was excellent. He, as you said, has always played well for us, and tonight was no exception. Very important, and not a straightforward save in the first half in particular. Ball skidding around off the surface, and several situations where there was a big crowd scene in the box, and he came and punched with authority. So I thought he had an excellent performance.
Okay, guys, we'll conclude it there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
That whoever wins England's group will play the runner-up in this group, which could be France, could be Germany, or could be Portugal. And there are English men and women shouting at the television now, England, whatever you do, don't win the group. Because if you're runner-up, you play possibly Sweden.
Is this part of your cunning plan last night not to
Yeah,
win?
we are the only nation that thinks this way about who we're going to play in the next round. But actually, the thought of playing France and Germany in round 2 is daunting, particularly with how we played last night. But I mean, the players have got to try and remove all this nonsense. They didn't react well, the English players, to winning that first game, and that's obviously caused them a problem last night. They have to get themselves right for Tuesday. They have to.
If it's a draw, the Czechs win the group.
It's a cunning plan by England, obviously. We'll play Scotland.
The history of cunning
we'll
plans.
play Scotland at Wembley, and we won't win. We'll play poorly, but we won't win because we're wanting to finish second. They're in trouble, whoever they play, if it's one of them.
Well, that is it. You wouldn't be frightened about playing England if it's France, would you?
We will
Come on, tell
play
the
them
truth.
with a little bit of respect because it's a big nation of football.
Yeah.
But at the moment, as a French national team, we are not scared of anybody. We are full of confidence.
No, I would have thought.
And you know the
that's
Germans
right.
have a swagger about them as well.
They certainly have a swagger about them.
Good luck.
And Ronaldo and his pals are Ronaldo. They kept pushing towards the end. It could have been 4-3 at one stage. I mean, in all seriousness, they will talk about Wales. England have just got to go and win the game, surely. You can't do anything but.
Well, what England have to do is put a performance in, because what performances will do will give them confidence. The Germans, after that today, they'll be massively confident. That's a top performance they've put in. England haven't done that yet. They were pragmatic and solid in the first game. We respected that performance. Last night was really poor. They've got to lift themselves to a point whereby they can be confident in round 2, whoever they play.
Some very, very good words there said by Gary Neville there, and from the rest of the ITV Sport Euro 2020 team. And some very interesting words said there by Gareth Southgate. I know that he's been under the flack of a load of criticism from the England fans on how he managed and how he dealt with some of the substitutions of some of the players that played in that game. And but it's quite interesting to see that Harry Kane, even though he was, it wasn't the performance that he was really proud of, and I know he was quite exhausted when he came off to be subbed, but he's still remaining confident. I know that he did say that we've got a big game against the Czech Republic, of course, once again, coming up this next week on Tuesday, of course on the 22nd of June. And but yeah, it's I know that with an unexpected draw, like I said, against Scotland, which I wasn't expecting that result, to be fair as well. It's nice to see that the optimism is slightly gone down slightly, but not too low, and it's nice to see that they're still remaining confident that they'll put on a good performance, hopefully, against the Czech Republic, like I said, in a few days' time. And I have also been in Czech with also that earlier on today, and this specifically on Father's Day, England have been the England team have been training at a brand new training facility where the Tottenham Hotspur football club play. And also, we've also got a very interesting article which needs to be highlighted, because loads of fans have been talking about this, and I've been following all the trends that's been going on, following on from that last match against Scotland. And there's also this article here from the Manchester Evening News. It says, Gareth Southgate explains why Jadon Sancho has not been playing for England during the Euros. And at the moment, going into the new Premier League season later on this year, he's expected to join Man United this summer and become the most expensive English football player in history. But he's not playing for England. We actually did see him play at the warm-up games against Austria and also Romania. And he has been saying that, Gareth, that he is reigning in expectations of Jadon Sancho at international level, despite a clamour for him to be involved at the European Championship. He was unexpectedly cut from the 23-man squad against Croatia from a few weeks ago, from last week. and it was completely unused in the stalemate against Scotland, where Gareth Southgate took, of course, and made 2 substitutions throughout the whole game. He has played Sancho 19 times, but only 10 of them have been starts, and only 7 of them have been of England's attackers that have made minutes ahead of him so far at the European Championship. He's Manchester United has submitted an improved offer in excess of £75 million for him this week in the Borussia. He plays for Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga in Germany at the moment. And he expects that the transfer would go through for him to return back to playing in England. Even though Sancho is set to become the most expensive English football player in history, he is low down in Southgate's attacking pecking order and unlikely to start in England's final group game against the Czech Republic, once again back at Wembley, like I said, come on next Tuesday. And Gareth Southgate said to most of the Sunday newspapers, including the Manchester Evening News, this article that I've got on my phone here, we've got some explosive options and a lot of them are young players and experiencing a big tournament for the first time. So as a coaching staff, we are realistic about our expectations of them as individuals. And Jadon is in that mix. He's trained well the last few days, and of course we have got those options and those decisions to make. And he's under pressure to make changes to the England attack following from the goalless draw against Scotland. And it says also here with the form over the captain of Harry Kane, and Marcus Rashford emerged against Scotland and also Croatia for Harry Kane when he went off in the previous game, while Jack Grealish replaced Phil Foden against the Scots, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin cameoed against Croatia, where Sancho's teammate Jude Bellingham became the youngest tournament participant in the England squad at only 17 years old, which is incredible, and is expected to celebrate his 18th birthday during this tournament. We don't know the date just yet, but we'll of course let you know about that when that happens in due course. And it also says here that Sancho has had 3 goals and 5 assists for England so far for him playing for the team. So there you go, everybody. I know that of course there's some another article of reason of a. I know that it should be in my opinion, I would say Jadon Sancho should need to be looked. I think to start playing, or should be on the bench in of course whether it be or even starting in the next game once again against the Czech Republic. But as well as that, all that aside, but also at least we've got some positive news now. As for most of you, as you still know, for most of you that might still not know, obviously the pandemic of the COVID-19 coronavirus is still going on. But there's been a massive, as it's been dubbed here, another article from Sky News here this time, that it's been dubbed as an Olympic effort earlier on from today, and that it's underway as football stadiums become pop-up vaccination centres, and thousands of COVID-19 jabs are available to those over aged 18 at stadiums in football grounds all across London. And this is the first weekend since all adults became eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine after the programme was open to those aged 18 to 20 on Friday. And as it stands, an over 42.9 million people now, as it's got the new total here now, of people vaccinated in the United Kingdom. And at the moment also, the correspondent of Laura Bundock was at the Olympic Stadium in East London, the home of West Ham United, where she said 15,000 vaccinations were available to be given out to all the people that queued up outside the stadium. And she said that this was the home of the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and there was certainly an Olympic effort underway here today, she said, adding that hundreds and hundreds of people were lined up in the queue, snaking all the way round the building. And also one teenager, which was an 18-year-old just called Matthew. I won't say his surname for, of course, safeguarding reasons. There we go. I was going to just finish off there. I was trying to think of the word. And he said, he told me he told the reporter there, his mum, woke him up to tell him the news and made him go on and book an appointment. And it also, another one had told her that he's due to start university in September and really hopes that might mean a slightly more normal return to university and to get back onto the campus and carry on student life. And Dr. Jagan John, the chairman of the North East London CCG, described the turnout as fantastic, adding that 10,000 vaccinations had already been booked at the stadium for that day. And he says, continuing on here, that vaccination centres, pop-up vaccination centres, were crucial in reaching as many people as possible with the vaccine currently, with mostly them coming from BioNTech and Pfizer, and also Moderna, and also a few more coming from Novavax, and as well as one of the other well-known vaccines that I'm trying to remember, honestly. I mean, there's been so many to try and keep track of. I can't remember and name them all, but there is definitely one out there that's also been used as much as like I said, with Pfizer being one of them, which I've also had, believe it or not, which I'm actually, unbelievably, I think when it comes to, before we play against the Czech Republic, it will be, I think, the 5th or 6th week now since I had my first vaccine, and I could be expected to get my second one within the next few weeks, which is very, very promising, as because of the acceleration of the vaccine rollout, and it's been very, very successful so far, despite the rising cases recorded today. For the second day in a row, over 10,000 cases of the Delta variant have been found of the virus so far. But they are starting to gradually, of course, hospital admissions are starting to fall, and that's very, very promising to hear from that as well. But following on also here from with the this story about this happening from yesterday, he said once again, Dr. Jagan John, he said that the average age in the borough of Newham is around 30, so the more that we can do to make it convenient and offer choices to our public and residents, then I think that is the right way to go ahead. Other stadiums and other football grounds in London being used as vaccine centres this weekend, also from today for that matter as well, have been Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea play, Tottenham Hotspur, Charlton Athletic, Selhurst Park and Crystal Palace Athletic Centre. And at Stamford Bridge there were 6,000 Pfizer vaccines doses available to those over the age of 18 who are eligible for their first or second dose. And the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, said there was, and was there, and also being there to talk about what was going on over there. And he says that you do not need to be registered with a GP to get vaccinated. It is great news that is more than 8 million doses of the life-saving COVID-19 vaccine have been given to Londoners, and now all adults over the age of 18 are able to get the jab. We are seeing the big difference that the vaccine is making in our fight against the virus, so I strongly urge all adult Londoners to book their appointments or attend a walk-in centre as soon as possible to ensure that you get your second dose. And the vaccine minister's Nadeem Zawari tweeted on Twitter saying, "This is an incredible effort by the whole London team, happening across the city at Spurs, Arsenal, Charlton and the West Ham too. Come on London, let's get vaccinated." And the government wants to offer every adult at least the first vaccine dose by the 19th of July for the best possible protection against the Delta variant, which was first reported in India a few months back. So with all that being said, and we're also kind of also on the topic, even though it's nothing to do with the Euro 2020 tournament, that's all of the stories that I managed to pick out, and I think I've honestly, I think I've made up for, this is, as I was going to say at the beginning of this episode, it was going to be a bumper match review of England versus Scotland. I know we couldn't see any of the goals because there weren't any, believe it or not, obviously. But I would also just like to apologise. There was also an edit at the start of me last video as well, which unfortunately caused a bit of copyright, and it was also owned by UEFA, so I had to cut that out, just like with the first game against Croatia for England. And that's currently uploading and of course being edited at the moment while I'm even though I'm showing of course my my new computer screen with of course the logo to my new series, and at the moment the recent episode when I commentated on the last game of England versus Scotland is already up, and it's in its final stages right now, when I of course will finish off with this episode, which I will eventually. As soon as I stop filming this, I have to get this up as well and all, so it feels like I have got no rest, but I will be of course getting this up as soon as possible, and I will have a little break in between. I'm not trying to tire myself out. Literally, I have been throwing everything at this series to make it enjoyable and entertainable for you guys out there watching, and I hope you've been enjoying it, of course. I mean, I've been having a lot of fun doing this. Initially, I did want to do this as a film, but I think it's actually worked out a bit more better for being an internet series, because I don't think I could cram so much in just like over like 2.5 hours of covering the whole run for England at the tournament. But yeah, honestly, I've been having a lot of fun doing this series, and may it long last continue. I'll only keep doing it until, depending on how unpredictable the results will be for England. But if England manage to go to the semi-finals and achieve what they did at the last World Cup, I mean, it will be a very promising result. But it would be such an opportunity if England can go all the way. This is like the first time in over 25 years they're playing at their brand new, of course, stadium at Wembley, not at the Twin Towers, since it's been over 21 years since it got knocked down. And the last time it was played, of course, a football match was played at the old Wembley Stadium, was unbelievably over 20 years ago, would you believe? It was actually a friendly against Germany, and we lost against them. I think it was 2-0 from what I remember to Germany, and it was not the best way to for England to lose their final game at that stadium before the new one being built, as it was built over all the way back in 2007. And like I said, it is the highest capacity stadium. It's got the highest capacity of all the stadiums that are in all the host cities of this tournament. It holds over 90,000 people, but as it stands, unfortunately, that won't be a full capacitated stadium come the final. But they're hoping, fingers crossed, by the end of this tournament, coming to the final, whenever that will be, of course, once again, on the, I was going to also correct myself there, on the 11th of July, hopefully it will be up to 50% capacity. That's what they're aiming for. A load of people, especially the UK government, and also all the main people, all the governing bodies of course, of UEFA, and that are in charge of the tournament this year as well. But with all that being said, now, of course, like I did mention earlier on in this episode, the time is almost up for this episode. But we are going to, of course, before I go, it's time for another, once again, of my right decision challenges. Now, you might remember last time I did eat a very hot, very, very hot Vindaloo curry, and with pilau rice, and it was not the easiest thing to eat, let me tell you. It was very hot, and I nearly almost fell sick. But luckily I didn't feel sick, of course, after when I ate it. But I had a close call, honestly. I think it didn't help because I was guzzling a lot of Bournemouth cider that I was drinking, and I think that didn't really help, actually, because I was just trying to my absolute utmost to just try and keep my mouth cool, because of the spices were just going absolutely crazy in my mouth because of how hot it is. But luckily enough for me, I'm not going to be eating one of them again today. But in relation to, of course, the match against Scotland yesterday, despite, of course, drawing to them and a very hard-fought draw against them at Wembley Stadium, I was planning to do this during the game and to go have a little bit of doing in a sign of respect for Scotland, because they've done well to reach this tournament, and like I said, this is their first major tournament they have been in for 24 years, and of course for 23 years. I actually got that wrong, my mistake. And of course, one of the popular things that they are well known for producing over up in Scotland is a very familiar drink that, and of course, a very famous bright orange drink that's well known for being brewed up in Glasgow, and that is Iron Brew. And I know that a load of Scotland fans were drinking that during, of course, the match itself from a few days ago, and that also led. I wouldn't just say that, but also I think a few Scotland fans they got a little bit drunk, and over 26 fans. I don't think it was just from England's side, but also a mixture of Scotland fans. They got into a little bit of a drunken riot. Of course, setting cars on fire or, of course, bottles being thrown. It was all a lot of rubbish being dumped as well, from what I've actually seen on previous news reports. But a load of them embraced it, but some of them did take it a bit too far. It was also mentioned in one of the articles also of me, of course, my copy of the Daily Mail newspaper, which came out from yesterday as well. But for all that being said, I am now going to be doing my challenge, and hopefully this will be a little bit more, of course, a bit more enjoyable this time. But I've never drank Iron Brew before, so this is going to be another challenge, and I did promise myself I would do it, of course, from yesterday. I asked my mum Samantha to go to the shops, and I've already got a bottle of Iron Brew Extra, because I want to try and get the most taste out of it and see what it's really like. And I know it's quite sickly sweet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, my challenge is not exactly to down one, but to basically drink a pint of course, of that very same drink. And in a way to respect for the Scots. So without further ado, I'm going to be heading downstairs once again to my dining room where I ate my Vindaloo curry, and it's time once again for the second on my The Right Decision challenges, as I am about to attempt and drink a pint of Iron Brew. Let's go and do it, everybody. Oh, you had to play it, didn't you? Well, here we go again, folks. Here is my second Right Decision challenge, and it is once again instead of a food challenge, it's a drink challenge. And this is the Iron Brew challenge, of course, in relation to the Scots that of course brewed initially this very famous, memorable, bright orange drink. Which goes back to all the way since 1901, would you believe, all the way in Glasgow in Scotland. And I know that, of course, you might remember seeing it before. Of course, I've got my Scottish hat as well, which I wore, which I think kind of was a bit of a bad omen for me being an England fan. And I know this is the only time you're going to ever see me dressed as a Scotsman, like you did see me in of course, the main episode. But here's my challenge. Now, I'm not going to down it because I've never actually tried it. This is the first time. I've actually just poured it out myself, and my mum got this especially for me earlier on today. Like I said, it's the extra Iron Brew, and like I said, I haven't actually tried it yet. So I'm actually gonna have this is gonna be a genuine reaction to it, and hopefully it won't be as bad as like what the Vindaloo curry was, but. I'm not, as I said already, I'm not going to down. I'm going to take my time to do it, and also I've just been told, unbelievably, by my mum Samantha also to be quiet because of you know, it's getting quite late. So let's give this a try now. But I'd like to say congratulations for a great, despite of course it was a draw in my, of course, once again my official Heineken glass, one of the official beer sponsors of UEFA Euro 2020. Cheers to all the Scotland fans and to all of Scotland. You played really, really well. You had us worried, and the very best of luck for playing against Croatia later on, of course, next week at the same time when we play against once again the Czech Republic on next Tuesday, the 22nd of June. But here we go. Here's my challenge, and let's give my first taste of, once again, Iron Brew Extra. Oh my god. Oh wow, that is quite sweet actually. Oh, but it's actually, I thought it was going to be a lot more stronger. But actually, that actually doesn't taste quite too bad actually. Actually, that is actually quite a very nice thing to drink. I do know, I can actually tell you a quick story, everybody, that a good friend of mine, Chelsea Booth and Becky Green, who were part of a local theatre group that is based around here where I live here in Littleport, the Littleport Players. They played two Scottish characters called Carrie and Fetch for a pantomime I'd done a few years ago. And as part of their little gimmick, as of their character being Scottish, they got a few. They were drinking cans of Iron Brew in relation, because that's being a very famous traditional drink drank by loads of people up in Scotland. But they also do specialise a lot in ales and ciders. I haven't got a cider this time, but I know that after when I've drank this, I'm going back to a few Copperberg pear ciders I had especially to celebrate my dad's, of course, for Father's Day. And but yeah, it's actually quite nice actually. So yeah, I'm gonna continue drinking this, and I'll be with you in a couple of minutes. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, everybody. Well, there you go, everybody. I can't believe it. And actually, believe it or not, it was really, really nice to actually have. But my God, it's giving me a lot of energy, and I know it's quite late at night, but it's going to need, it's going to be very, very useful to keep me energized for editing this video when I get the chance. But there you go, everybody. I have completed another of the right challenges. I have officially drank a pint, and of course, of Iron Brew in my Heineken glass, and it was actually, it had surprised me actually. I think it was, I'll just finish off the bottom, there was a little bit in the bottom there, but it was, yeah, it was actually, it was quite sweet. I wouldn't obviously have a whole 2 litre bottle if ever I was thirsty, but if I ever go to Scotland in the future when the pandemic blows over, I would definitely have it. It was actually really, really nice, and my mum got this especially from Sainsbury's, and I think they're on for a little bit of offer. They're on offers at the moment because of the recent, once again, of course, with the ongoing Euro 2020 tournament. But of course, this is the only time you're going to see me being a little wee Scotsman. But there you go, everybody. And with that, that is the end of this episode, once again, of... Oh, sorry about that. I was going to just actually say there, I just had to belch there once again from drinking that. It was very, very... It's definitely full of... a lot of bubbles in it, and it makes you belch quite a lot, honestly, so I could do apologise for that. So with that being said, that is the end of this instalment, and of course for this episode, once again, of Football's Coming Home Again, Extra Time, when I've looked back on the unfortunate scoreless draw against England and Scotland, and a little preview against England and the Czech Republic starting this, of course, upcoming Tuesday on the 22nd of June. And I'm quite nervous. I have to say that I know that we weren't expecting that lose against Scotland, but I am nervous, but I'm hoping that England will, of course, the least they can do is get a draw, but I know that England would like to hopefully win the tournament, but, win the group for that matter, but of course, obviously, that would be the ultimate goal for them to do so, that, and of course, in whole, but like I said already, I do know that I think, funny enough, I have a bit of a feeling that England might, it's not like they want to try and make it easy for themselves to go far in this tournament, like they had done with the last World Cup in Russia in 2018, but it'll be interesting to see how the game plays, and of course, like I said already, you can join me live here on YouTube, of course, in the next few days after when I've uploaded this, of course, extra time edition episode, once again, of Football's Coming Home Again. And like I said, I'll be back, as always, as next week with, of course, the next, and of course, the third and final group stage match for us at the UEFA Euro 2020 tournament, when we take on the Czech Republic, and hopefully we'll get the chance to go to the knockout rounds of 16 of this tournament. As it stands, I know that with the unexpected goalless draw against Scotland, I know that it wasn't the result we needed, like I mentioned in the main episode, but it's not over yet, honestly. We can have a bad day, of course, at Wembley Stadium, but it's all positivity and hope and optimism all the way from here. Of course, the negativity and, of course, all the doubts and being cynical stops right now, right here, right now, and we can look forward to a very interesting and very exciting, of course, third and final game, of course, of the group stages of UEFA Euro 2020, once again in this tournament. But I'm just about to run out of battery, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up now with this episode. Thank you once again for watching this episode, once again, of Football's Coming Home Again Extra Time. And as always, until next time, au revoir, adios, au wiedersehen. For me, Jack Wright, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye, and also, Akayunu to all the Scotland fans out there. And the very best of luck, like I said, against Croatia next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. We done? Oh, I can get the hat off again. I hope this is not going to be a cursed one like I mentioned in the last episode. Oh, goodness me, and it's made my hair all messy as well. Oh, God. But at least I got the chance to wear my favourite shirt as well. You know what, honestly, now I have to get this all edited. I can definitely get a think through the rest of this, but Mum won't be impressed, but I'll keep it there just in case if I need to, just need a little energy boost.